If 6 and 7 are, I like these books even if it doesn't sound like it because I want to talk about the parts I don't like, then 8 and 9 are, I like these books and I think you'd actually believe me. For my number 8 pick, I have Maō-san no Gachi petto, the Demon Lord San's gachapet. I like how the MC in this one is someone who is experienced in sex and has a very positive relationship with it. It's very common in these type of stories that either the MC is a virgin, or if they aren't, they've maybe had one or two bad relationships. While I have no problem with that trope, it was very refreshing to see a break from it. The main character of this one was a former host who changed jobs into being a sugar baby on a rotation with, I think, 6 lovers. The MC is very open that he wants to feel loved and he likes people who love him. He's also very proud that he's great at his job. He is then forcibly summoned to another world, and for a bit he's concerned that he's been called to fight the Demon Lord. However, it turns out in this world, humans have survived despite their lack of magic and weaker physical abilities by selling themselves as pets. And that does include being sexual partners, although they're generally embarrassed about that part. There was no one who met the criteria of the Demon Lord's taste in the right age range, so the demons had the humans do a summoning ritual to bring in a human who did. Our MC's first reaction is relief that this is something he actually has a skill set in, and his second concern is whether or not the Demon Lord is good at sex. Once he's at the Demon Lord's castle, our MC's first order of business is to get him to see him as a unique individual, not Nana the 99th, I forgot his exact number, as the Demon Lord has called all of his pets by the same name since his very first pet. The second thing our MC has to do is retrain the Demon Lord's ideas about sex. It's not that the Demon Lord doesn't know how to do it, but his previous pets always expressed fear at the size of his equipment. And as our MC sorts out, they probably weren't either gay or had a lot of experience with sex beforehand. So, the Demon Lord would hold back as long as he could, then bow to his pet and ask him to put up with it once a month. Our MC is bi and has experience. In fact, he's used to having sex most days and he misses having it since he moved to the Demon Lord's castle. He doesn't want the Demon Lord to be somber or businesslike about it. He wants him to learn to set the mood, and he doesn't get angry at him for not knowing, he just helps him learn. And this dynamic carries out throughout the rest of the book. The story winds up feeling very wholesome, which sounds kind of odd as sex is a prominent part of the story, but it feels like the right way to explain it. And that's where I'd been planning to call the review when I was wrapping up, and then I suddenly realized I haven't talked about my favorite scene. So we're going to touch on that really fast. There's a scene near the end of the book where there's a meeting among many nations' leaders. Rather than any explicit political goals, this is supposed to be an event to foster friendship between nations, so the leaders are bringing their own pets to make it a relaxed atmosphere. Now, as a professional host, that sort of event seems right up a light's alley. However, the Demon Lord has reservations. The Demon Lord gets along very poorly with another leader called the Guide King. It would seem the last time this sort of event was held, the Guide King accidentally messed up the clothes of the Demon Lord's pet as a form of harassment. However, Light is a pro, and at this meeting, when the Guide King tries the same trick and makes his pet spill a drink all over him, Light uses this as a costume change excuse. He takes his time coming back, and then when he does, he has a rose for each of his guests. He uses the short amount of time left as an excuse to go around individually and quickly greet each pair of guests on his own. And he uses his honed host skills to take note of the pet's interests and temperaments and makes them the star of each conversation. This, by extension, pleases each of the leaders who generally hadn't picked up on the same thing Light had, like one pet really liking strawberry cake. But now that they do know about it, they can act on it, and they were very grateful to Light for pointing this out. After this meeting, it led to the various leaders sending Light thank you gifts and opening up several trade opportunities for this country. I love how they're using Light's skills as a professional host as showing him being sensitive to people's temperaments and how it actually helps him in a political theater. I touched on it here and there, but I really do like how the MC is not slut-shamed in the series. It made it really feel like an actual relationship between adults. I've read a lot of stories about first love or late bloomers. If someone does have a history, it's usually, oh, I've only had sex for physical reasons, but this is my first true love kind of plot, which I do like, but I'm realizing while reading this, I haven't read a lot of series about two adults who have a history of romantic and sexual relationships with others, and that's just treated as normal. No jealousy, just experience forming their expectations. And there aren't any huge misunderstanding plots because of this either. They communicate with each other, and it's really treated as them opening up to each other and caring about each other by doing that. And that's just really refreshing. The grandiose setup of the book boils down to much less grandiose stakes. It's a story of someone who wants to be loved and therefore works hard at being a good lover, meeting someone who wants to love but has gotten clumsy after so much rejection. And it's nice to see the two characters meet and accept each other. It turned out to be a very cozy story, and sometimes that's all I need. 8. And with that, you should now be seeing 2 videos popping up on your screen. Click on the left to see me complain about a BL novel having too much smut in it. Click on the right to see me try and read a Japanese isekai novel in English without a dictionary while my friends riff on me. See you next month!